Attention K-Mart shoppers, the discounting retailer is fighting for its life these days in a tough world of low-price competition. K-Mart filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection this past week, becoming the largest American retailer to seek protection from its creditors. K-Mart, famous for its blue light specials, Martha Stewart and Jacqueline Smith brand lines, could emerge from bankruptcy next year, but with many stores closed and many jobs lost. What happened to K-Mart and what does it mean to the shoppers, stockholders, as well as to the retailing business? Eric Meyers has been watching the fortunes of K-Mart with special interest. He's an equity analyst with Federated Investors. Audrey Gusky is Associate Professor of Marketing at Duquesne University. Welcome. Good to see both of you. Thanks for coming.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So at K-Mart's, it's kind of a long story at this point. They've been struggling for some time. What's happened most recently to sort of push them over the edge?
Well, I think you have to take a step back and look at strategically where have they been positioned, and they're in a pretty tough spot where Walmart has established themselves as the low-cost operator, and Target has come in and established a niche for a higher-end customer who is looking for a higher quality good and willing to pay a little more for that. And K-Mart has been caught in a tough spot. Within the last couple of weeks and last couple of months, K-Mart, they had a really tough holiday season. Their sales were below their expectations. They tried to step up promotion, and they weren't able to achieve the sales they had hoped. It was the most recent development that probably, there's other ones, including the recession and 9/11 that they'll mention, but I'd say those are the core issues.
Yeah, because obviously all retailers are having to cope with the broader economic conditions. Kmart, there was a time when it was the up-and-coming hot retailer that was going to knock Sears out of the way.
Absolutely. In fact, the Trumps were shopping there, I think, in 1991, so it was like the trendy place to go. And Kmart, unfortunately, as Eric was saying, doesn't really know who they are. They've attempted to be very low-end and did extremely well when they first started out. They tried to upscale and, as you said, Bill, kick out Sears, and now they've added the food and the supermarkets and the Super K and the Big K, which is so confusing to consumers. They really didn't know who they were themselves, so how would consumers know? They're not establishing themselves as some special type of store and discounter. I, for one, I think I'm one of the few retail analysts who really like Kmart and really want them to survive and do well. I think we need the competition. With just Walmart there and Target, it's not giving consumers enough choice. And I think Kmart is there for the average community to provide basic products and things like that. I think they can do well, and I do hope they survive.
Well, that is a good point. What does this mean to the whole competitive dynamics of especially that discount end of the retail industry?
Well, Target and Walmart haven't said much, but there's a clear growth path for them, and they're both talking about opening more stores. If you close the Kmart stores, which is the speculation that they'll close anywhere from 300 to 700 stores, although that's complete speculation at this point. No one knows exactly what they're going to do. That still leaves them with 1,400 stores, and so I'm not sure that it has a drastic effect on the consumer. I think we're seeing a plethora of available outlets pop up. We were talking about the warehouse clubs, Sam's and BJ's and Costco. People are shopping more there, so I'm not sure that there's a lack of options available. Where Kmart does have a concentration of stores is in urban areas, and so I think you might have a little bit of a risk there. But even there, you're seeing the dollar stores, the Family Dollars, the Dollar Generals, they're gaining traction. So I'm not sure that it's there's a real risk for the consumer that they won't have anywhere to shop in either the short term or the longer term. There's always going to be retailers who are, going to be willing to try to fill that void if there is indeed one.
The challenge, though, for a newer, smaller Kmart, I'm just a marketing person, Audrey, it's got to be tough. I mean, they've been kind of a JV Walmart for the past few years. You think it's feasible for them to carve out a new niche as a somewhat smaller company?
Well, I'm thinking possibly they can. One of the things they need to do, I think, is downsize instead of keep getting bigger and offering these super stores.
I mean, actually, the physical stores need to be a little
I think
smaller.
they do, because a lot of consumers are looking for a store they can get in and get out of very quickly. That was their success before. I think some of the things they need to do is maybe find more of the ethnic groups, the Hispanic or the urban, as Eric was saying, the black market, and maybe specialize in some of those areas as well. I think also they need to develop an image as to who they are, and I think they need to go from just this blue light special store that we remembered from the past and become a little bit more glamorous, glitzy, and offer some really good merchandise, better service. I think Walmart specializes in customer service. K-Mart is holding their own, but I think if they tend to concentrate on that a bit more, specialize to customers, a more friendly atmosphere. Cleaner stores, bigger stores, brighter stores, upgrade a lot of the atmospherics in the actual retail outlets themselves. I think that'll give them a fresh start.
Sounds like a lot of investment, though, capital improvement, to take that kind of a strategy and really move in that direction. Is that feasible for a company in K-Mart's financial shape right now?
What they're talking about is, a lot of the opposite is getting, they have a fair amount of debt, and, the point of the Chapter 11 reorganization is to reorganize that debt, as well as to get rid of some of these leases. For a retailer, that's the big obligation that's off balance sheet, that when push comes to shove, that's the tough part for them, is they've got obligations to pay over the next 15, 20 years. And the Chapter 11 allows them to get out of a lot of that. So that's what they're doing right now, is they're looking at those and figuring out what are the most profitable stores, which are probably the least profitable stores, and where can they get out of these
take care of the balance sheet first,
yeah,
and then
take
look
care
at
of that.
all these marketing issues.
I'm not sure that they're ready for a
yeah.
big expansion. I think contraction is more in order here.
All right. Well, we will certainly see what unfolds with one of America's most famous and largest retailers, Eric Meyers from FEDERATED and Audrey Gusky from Duquesne University. Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming by this morning.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Next up, the potential of